Hello and welcome to the March 22nd, 2026 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're paying for this project of ours. We're live every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of the articles that we present are pulled from sites like Industry Tap, Live Science, Positive.news, and GoodGoodGood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Hello, everybody. Gosh, we've got a ton of people in. I am so happy to see everybody. Hello, Becky. Hello, Nate. Hello, Christian. Hello, I saw another name. Hello, Nico. Hello, Nordic Wolf Gaming. This is really cool. Hello, Will. Gosh, I am so happy to see you all tonight. And hello to producer Donna.
Hi.
So, in order to make sure that there isn't any sort of pickup between my speakers and the recording when producer Donna is talking, I make sure to use an AirPod. Well, for some reason, my computer just did not want to hook up to my AirPods at all, so we were dealing with that for like 5-10 minutes, so...
Because we made the mistake of saying, hey, we've got lots of time, we can relax.
Lots of time. The other thing with that is that when I do this, I can't actually hear the intro stuff because I don't have it set up to go to the AirPod. I have it set up to go to my speakers and I forgot to change it. So if I was off on my timing of my posing, that's why. Because I can't hear crap. Nordic, Wolf, or Wolfie is fine. No need to full name me. I'm Nordic Wolf Gaming 39, you get your tail over here right now. I'm gonna whole name you like your mother when you went and broke a vase. Alright, so tonight is a special broadcast. Tonight is going to be the first Chat and Chill of 2026. That's right, a Chat and Chill episode. We do these quarterly. 2 weeks ago we had our Cool News episode, so tonight is going to be our Chat and Chill for the first quarter of 2026. It's going to be fun. It's going to be an hour of chatting, chilling, drinking, and answering questions that y'all have presented to us. Speaking of the drinking...
At Facebook.
And cursing at Facebook, yes. Dang you, Meta. You are just worthless. Why are you one of the platforms that we have to use to spread good news? I mean, it's a powerful platform
to
spread
own everything.
There's also that. Yes, they just own everything.
Jerks.
Can y'all hear producer Donna just fine? I know there's a slight delay, but I wanted to make sure that that is coming through.
No, that's fine because it gives me a chance to get this post finished.
Okay.
If Meta will actually catch up and do its freaking job.
No, it won't. But everybody can hear us. Hey, Julie.
Hey, Julie.
All right. So News Brew. Speaking of that drinking aspect, the News Brew for tonight. We're going to explore beer from another part of the world this whole month. With March's news brews all coming from Kyodo Shoji Coedo Brewery that is located in Kawagoe-shi, Saitama, Japan. The third of these brews is Marihana. Yeah, that's an N, not an R. It's Marihana, which is a 4.5% ABV Session IPA. So it's, a special-made IPA. And Marihana is a word for hop flowers. And this beer is promising a delicate citrusy hop aroma. We'll be the judges of that. Across the world, brewers ply their trade, brewing beer for everyone to try. It's time to get out there and try something a little different. So, from Coedo, Marihana. Now, it is a bottle. We need our Battle Song bottle opener. There it is. Getting better at this because we got bottles again. We had so many cans for so long. All right, so
the cans are cheaper.
The cans are cheaper. So, it is an IPA. IPAs can be enjoyed in a number of different glassware. I prefer usually pint glasses, so I've got my really nice support our local Michigan breweries, Michigan beer pint glass for 2025. I can't wait to see what the 2026 cup will look like. I collect these things like people collect baseball cards, so we'll see. Nate says cans change the taste. Nate, I do agree with you. So, let's get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour. Straight pour, get all that head out of there. I don't need to be drinking all that gas. Wow, it's like... what the heck color was that? It looked like it was pouring clear. It's just got a little bit of yellow to it. I think the camera is actually accenting how much yellow that is, because it's actually really fair. And the head on it is like white as could be. It's like neon white. Aw, Castle
that
is
one
neon.
is really pale, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very pale IPA. Very pale session. I'm picking up that very central hop aroma with a little bit of citrus, so they're nailing that. It's really neat to learn little things like when you call a beer Marihana after hop flowers. I didn't know any of that. All of the translations on all these Coedo beers have been fantastic. Nordic says, wait, what was it that Nordic said? Nordic Wolf or Wolfie. So Nordic said, they do, especially if it's sat a while. Taste of aluminum bleeds into the drink. I do agree with that. I tend to buy as much of my beer in bottle form as I can. If it's cans, I tend to put it away pretty quick. It's all dependent too, I think, with temperature. So I think there's some play there and some science to look into. But because I've had some bottled beer or some canned beer that has actually lasted a while.
So this box of beer I've been collecting for you since Christmas, or no, since Halloween. I should probably get to you sometime soon.
At some point, it can keep.
Does it help that it's in a cool, dark place?
Probably, so long as it's not going through multiple like temperature inversions and it's not going up and down with temperature. When it's stable, I don't think it leaches as much. I think it's when you start getting a lot of temperature fluctuation that it leaches more of that tinny taste. Nordic says why kegs are made of high-grade steels and lined especially to prevent that metal bleed in. That's really cool. I didn't know that. Nate says
what
they
are they
tried.
lined with?
I'm curious, Nordic, if you can answer that one for us. What is it lined with specifically? And while you look up that, Nate said they tried plastic once and it was horrible. I can't imagine drinking a beer out of a plastic, anything but a solo cup if I poured it into it during a game of beer pong. Julie says, if you say Halloween, I fear there is pumpkin, Donna.
I'm not admitting to anything.
Nordic said, I don't know, my ADHD kicked in at that point. So it was a fever, it was an ADHD-induced fever stat for us that kegs are made of very high-grade steel, and they do have a coating to prevent that metallic flavor from leaching into the beer, which is good because kegs are meant to store beer for long periods of time. So, all right, I've got this guy topped off, so I think it's time to start going into other topics. Let's see. Shout-outs.
You want to know?
Know what?
I looked it up.
Oh, you did? What is it?
That's my job.
Well, I know, but I asked Nordic to do it, and they failed us.
Nordic is new. Give him a chance.
Okay. So what is the coating?
Most modern beer kegs are made of stainless steel and are not coated on the inside, as the metal is naturally corrosion resistant and easy to sanitize. Older or cheaper aluminum kegs are often used in an internal epoxy lining.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
To prevent corrosion, while some kegs feature a rubber coating on the outside for protection for handling. And that is from Wikipedia.
All right, so the older aluminum kegs utilize an epoxy coating to prevent leaching, which is interesting. But that kind of makes sense with stainless steel because I've worked with that material a bit in my time, and the corrosion resistance of stainless steel is a well sought after quality of it. So if that can double as a preventative of leaching, that's really cool. Nate says, when people threw bottles onto baseball fields, they tried it. I'm not surprised. Nordic said, more, it was a work lecture, and they lost me after that point because they went science-y beyond what my brain could handle.
Don't let Nordic put themselves down. Nordic knows a whole lot more than they want to admit to.
It seems like it. They take Wikipedia with a grain of salt, considering how easily people can go in and change things, but that is accurate about stainless steel. Yes, I do agree. That is accurate about stainless steel. It's always cool, too, with Wikipedia articles, if they can cite everything, and you can go down and check the sources separately. Worth doing some digging, because even I didn't know that fact, and I drink a lot of beer.
And Wikipedia is really... they've gotten a lot better. They've got a huge community now that really supports them and really puts a lot of effort into fact-checking everything that comes in and building up their site and their articles. They've got a huge staff now. It's fairly impressive. It used to be a free-for-all.
I actually heard a Wikipedia editing thing the other day. I was listening to the podcast Once We Were Spacemen with Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion. And they were talking about how, I believe it was Nathan had a meeting with the Fox executive that had been one of the voices that had canceled Firefly. And this executive was upset about the fact that they would go into Wikipedia and that line that they canceled Firefly was on their Wikipedia. And they went and removed it. And 3 days later, I think Nathan said, it popped right back in and the moderators had put it in. And then he did it a couple times and they kept putting it back in.
Mm-hmm.
So basically nailing that person as the killer of Firefly. Julie says, AKA Wash and Malcolm. Yeah. Julie says, AKA Wash and Malcolm Reynolds. Yep. Nordic says, I know random weird things like strange state laws that make zero sense. Nate says, yeah, he has to own that. If you cancel something as beloved a show as Firefly, like, yeah, that's going to be on your Wikipedia till you die. Becky says, I love Alan Tudyk. He is so funny. And yes, Nico just said what they were talking about on Once We Were Spacemen. There's going to be a Firefly animated show on Disney Plus this fall. I am looking forward to it.
I am waiting to see how it goes. Disney's got a major opportunity here to let these guys handle it and make it pure and beautiful and an absolute fan bliss moment, or they have the opportunity to completely mainstream it and ruin it.
So the cool thing to that point, two things. Nico mentioned it's going to take place between the show and the movie, and Nordic said it's the OG cast, and that's correct. It is the entire OG cast. Nathan Fillion actually
writing it.
Nathan, the cast is, and the writer from one of the shows that Nathan Fillion was on. I'm trying to remember. He dropped all the names at a con just recently, and they have full control over it. Disney does not have control over it. They're just going to be distributing it.
Good. Okay, there's absolute hope for it then, because, I mean, you take a look at Disney's. I don't want to start a war here, but you take a look at their Star Wars shows. Some of them are really good, have got really good solid writing, and others, Bruce, settle please. Others are just, oh God, cringy, so cringy. And it's hard to trust Disney these days.
That's true.
And sorry, we're being joined by the drama llama, Bruce.
Oh, Brucey. Um, yeah, I see that Nico said, I'm bummed it's not a continuation unless they're retconning the movie. So I know they're not. At least everything that I've heard, they're not retconning the movie. It's just, it will be in the interim, there were a ton of stories that they wanted to tell. Alan Tudyk had said he'd written so many stories of what the crew was doing in that time. So I guess we'll see some of those.
And this is undoubtedly a test project. If it goes well, then they'll probably do continuations. It's okay, well, let's see what you've got.
Yep.
Type of moment.
And Julie mentioned Ron Glass. Shepard Book did pass away, sadly. God bless, and to Ron Glass. So it will be interesting to see if they will have some way of having him in, whether he has a family member who has a voice similar to his, who could honor his role, or what. I guess we'll see with time. Nordic is raging about Mulan, and I think that's appropriate. Nate says, go the Marvel route. Alternate universe. That's always an option. Nordic says,
we'll see.
no.
I'm not gonna. I want to see what they do.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's got some major potential, and now that Bruce, will you please stop falling off the table? Okay, settle down. Settle. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. He's very large and not. Dex is a dump stat for this cat. It's with the crew doing it. It's got major potential, and I'm a lot more excited about it now than I was, 10 minutes ago. So we'll see.
I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of podcasts, did you know that I'm part of a podcast team? Check out DAINIME, the Daikaiju and Anime Podcast. My friend T, myself, and other friends discuss, review, and reflect on giant monsters and Japanese animation. If you love kaiju movies and anime, it is definitely the podcast for you. Check out the links in the description below. The beer is interesting. Becky and Nate both asked me, how's the beer? It's definitely a session IPA. And right now I still don't think it's about time to be drinking these, but I wanted to work through these 4 different beers that I picked up from the Asian market that I was at in Chicago. And it's got a little bit more of the hop bitterness than I expected, but the citrus is there, and it's kind of refreshing. So I think they nailed what they were looking for with this one. Oh, yeah. Alan Tudyk's long list of roles is being discussed in the chat. From the chicken Hey Hey to Duke Wesselton and Duke Weaselton, to K2SO4 from Rogue One.
I mean,
Alan
to say that's one of my favorites of his.
Yeah. Resident Alien is another fantastic show to check out. And Nathan Fillion is, all the cast has all been doing really amazing things with their lives. Some of them are still acting, some of them aren't. And they're just living their lives, and it's really cool. Like, I would say check out, I will also say check out Once We Were Spacemen, because they've had most of the cast of Firefly on as guests to talk about what they're up to right now, and it is really cool to hear what each of them have been doing since Serenity. So it was really neat to hear from all of them. Nordic says, Hey Hey is my spirit animal on so many days. I think a lot of us feel like that chicken, lately at least. Just
Today's
screaming.
the Hey Hey versus the Ocean Day, and today is Hey Hey can't eat day. And
right. Smacking his head into the board and having to be moved over to actually peck at food. Oh. News quote.
Okay. See if you can get through the rest of the intro.
Yeah, we're so close. We're almost through the intro. News quote. I have learned that to be with those... Wait. This one reads a little weird, so bear with me. And really think about this one. I have learned that to be with those I like is enough. That quote comes from Walter Whitman Jr., better known as Walt Whitman, who lived from 1819 to 1892 and was an American poet, essayist, and journalist, often called the father of free verse. And I really like that quote. When I was looking at it and reading through it, I had the gift this weekend of being able to hang out with a lot of different people in different settings. And it was really nice because I liked everybody that I hung out with. And where I am in my life right now, it's really important to choose to hang out with people that I like. Very positive people, very uplifting people, which helps me stay positive. I try to be a very positive person at all times. And sometimes I don't succeed, but especially when I'm surrounded by positive people, it is a lot easier to remain positive. And it is all people I like. So I have learned that to be with those I like is enough. To Walt Whitman. Cheers.
And it's a lot more rewarding than spending, 2 or 3 extra hours at work getting overtime. You gotta spend time making your heart happy.
Yep. Bug update. I'm not going to lie. I'm really happy for very quiet weeks here in the bug room where nothing is going on. Nothing out of the ordinary to report. Ripley is over there. Got a cricket this morning, and I tried to get some really cool pictures of it, but she is super sensitive to vibration, so she got away before I could get some really good pictures. But if you're not afraid of spider-like animals and you want to see the pictures I did get, check out our Instagram on Tuesday. The Cuddle Puddle, my collection of Madagascar hissing cockroaches, they're doing great, but Black Tom and Tony the Tiger, the two big males that I have, are just fighting constantly over control of the band. So, it's a turf war. It's a battle for who wants to be head lyricist, or head singer. I guess we'll find out who wins. Little John and Sue are pretty chill. They've been chilling in their burrows. Little John still comes out quite a bit, so it's all good. A couple of my dubia roaches got their wings. They grew into adult males. They look pretty neat. I'll get some pictures of them. But otherwise, it's pretty chill in here. And I'm happy with that. Nate says, that's fitting today where everyone spends too much time battling. We don't have to battle. Live and let live. Enjoy your people. I like that. Julie says, except I am in search of another bug to form Voltron. There was a funny discussion with some of the friends I was hanging out with on Saturday about my collection of scorpions. Yes, I have 4 scorpions. I have a tailed whip scorpion. I have a tailless whip scorpion. I have an Asian forest scorpion. And I have an emperor scorpion. And they were discussing if I picked up a 5th scorpion, would they be able to form Voltron? I have loved Voltron my entire life. I remember, I would think I was in Massachusetts, was the first time ever I saw an episode of Voltron on my aunt's TV, and it was like mind-blowing. I fell in love with Voltron, and so yeah, if I pick up a 5th scorpion, can they make Voltron? The problem with that is that if I pick up a 5th scorpion, it's probably going to be one of the scorpions that I don't possess, which is, at this point, a very venomous one. And I think that's not a risk I'm willing to take.
Plus, one of the scorpions you currently have is a predator for 2 of your others, so...
That is true.
I don't think that's going to work out real well either.
I don't think so either, so... I won't be picking up a 5th scorpion to make Voltron out of scorpions.
You're going to end up with an empty Voltron suit.
Ugh, no. It's terrible.
And a very happy Elmira.
Yeah, because Elmira's going to eat all of them. Nico says,
Except
I loved
Ripley.
it too.
She'll just scuttle away.
Yeah, Ripley can get away from Elmira, no problem. All right. So that gets us out of the intro, and now we're into stuff and things. So how about that stuff and things? It was stuff and things and other things and more stuff. I believe we have some questions that people sent in, Donna.
We do. You
Oh
want to
boy.
start in on them, or do you want to hit up our resident audience first?
Let's do a question. Let's see what we've got for tonight.
Okay. Our first one is from Jesse.
Okay.
You guys see so much bad news while looking for good things to share. What self-care do you practice to keep from burning out?
Is this a self-care? Don't think that's one I
It
want
is
to
for
admit.
you.
It's not. No, this is not self-care.
Oh, no, I didn't mean the beer.
I was gonna joke low-key alcoholism. And the chat lights me up. Nate, he drinks. Julie, beer. Yeah, looking for good news and keeping my finger on the pulse of just the media and news in general can be depressing at times. I don't think that anybody isn't going to get burned out looking at any of the major news outlets these days. I think my recharge is definitely this, and interaction with good people. I think I get pretty amped up just being around people that don't necessarily even have to be like-minded, but so long as we're all out for positive things, that's enough. So, yeah, I think hanging out with the right people is my recharge and helps me get through all the bad news.
I'm the opposite.
Oh?
Mine is to step back and isolate. So I'll go into Minecraft and I will ignore chat. I will ignore everything and just create. And that's my recharge. Or, a craft project or something like that. Go out and play in the dirt if I've got, a good sunny day. Creating and like that by myself is my recharge when I need to just empty all the crap out of my brain and chill.
That's a good one. Julie said, correction, filling my passport. So I've got a hop passport. Check those out. It's half off your first 2 drinks at all of the locations in it. And like Michigan has, I think, like 277 locations in their book. So yeah, I go around filling that thing out. Nate says, so I have to say by design, major news networks' goal is to rile you up. All of them. That is why shows like this are critical. The money is to amplify, but the heart's cure is this. Thanks, buddy. Thank you very much, Nate. I appreciate that.
And you're right.
We really are striving to be the counter to the bad news. Like in everything we do, in all of our content, we're trying to just have good stuff, funny stuff, or interesting stuff.
Well, I think too part of it is that news used to be neutral. It would just present the information, and it's gotten so far away from that since the mid 80s that news is now a commodity, and they want to elicit the reaction from you instead of just giving you information. They need that reaction from you. Their sponsors want that reaction, and all of that. So having a chill, a news show like ours where we present something that, if it's going to incite a reaction, we want it to be a happy dopamine hit rather than oh my God, now what sort of thing.
Hence like the I'm not crying, you're crying articles and things like that.
Right. So. But even when we hit those, it's not a sad cry. It's a,
No.
wow, I can't believe people are so awesome, or I really needed that type of
Right.
cry.
Exactly. Nico echoed
Exactly.
what you were saying, Donna. Yep, I read a study recently where rage content keeps people tuned in. It's a bummer.
Yeah, and that all started in the 90s with shows like Jackass and what's his name?
Oh, Lord.
The Radio Shock Jock.
Which one? Howard Stern?
Yeah, Howard Stern, the original.
Mm.
You know, we wouldn't all be so depressed and on edge if the news was being presented to us neutrally like it used to be, where we can make up our own minds instead of being told how we're supposed to feel and being influenced by it. We would have the information and we can decide ourselves, is this a good thing or a bad thing? You know, and unfortunately that's not the way it is currently, and I really wish it would get back, it would get back to neutrality. I don't know.
Nate says you are absolutely correct. So, who sent in that question? Jesse?
That was Jesse. Yeah.
Jesse, thank you for
these
that
questions that I have are mostly from people who can't tune in to our live episodes. So some of these names you're not going to recognize because they're not people that come up all the time. They're the ones that watch our VODs.
Oh, that's fine. I'm happy for anybody that tunes in and spreads good news. How many questions do we have from folks outside?
I have lots of questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have quite a few. In fact, where did Nordics go?
Oh, Nordic is here, so yeah, we could do Nordic's question.
I'll have to go find those. I think Nordic gave us a couple too.
Okay.
I was a little light on questions this time, so I asked a friend with ADHD and then just turned her loose. So we have plenty of questions.
Are there, while you find that, is there anybody in the audience right now, anybody tuning in that has any questions for us or anything they want us to chat about?
I have a couple from Ice Knight.
Okay.
You ready to geek out?
Will, do you want us to answer your questions live? If he's still in the chat. I can't actually see the list of like who's in the chat. I can just see who's chatting at the time. I don't know if there's a way for me to be able to see who's in the chat.
Will probably had to go to bed. I know he normally goes to bed because he's up at 4.
Ugh. All right. Well.
Yeah.
We can do.
Well,
let's do
like
a Will question.
He goes to the gym first before work, and then.
Oh, I don't do that anymore. I'm not getting up early. Yeah, I used to. I'm not doing that anymore. I'll work out after work. Hey, Will's here. All right. What's a Will question? What do we got for a nice night question?
First one. Best pizza we've ever had.
I have a story to go with that one.
Well, go for it.
I'm with some friends at a convention, at an anime convention in Detroit. And we had been partying all day. So we were in a specific frame of mind that comes from partying all day. And we were just wandering by the GM building in downtown Detroit. And at one point, a scooter went flying into the river. And then we found a pizza place. I thought we were going into someone's house, the way this place looked. I have never been able to find this place again since that day, but we went into this pizza joint that was out of this world. They had like pictures of celebrities that had visited on the walls, and the pizza was fantastic. And I remember that despite my partied self, I remember that pizza was like a spicy meat pizza that was just out of this world. It was like a hot honey meat pizza, and it was fantastic. And I wish I wish I had a photographic memory and could walk my path to find that place again, because it was wild.
Or at least get a name.
Right. What's your favorite pizza that you've had?
Unfortunately, mine, they're not open anymore. It was a small mom and pop place in Mount Shasta, California.
Hmm.
And it was, God, what was the pizza we had? It was one of their house specials, and it was, instead of marinara, it was a creamy garlic sauce
Ooh.
with pepperoni, tomatoes, and sour cream. And I was kind of, what? Sour cream on pizza? But okay. It was so good. It was so good. It doesn't make sense in the brain, but it was really good.
All right.
And that homemade crust, it was a nice mom and pop
yeah.
place. Nothing was, out of a box or a can. It was really good.
Very nice. Very cool. Will, thank you very much for sending in that question. Cheers.
He's got another one if you want.
Well, I was going to ask if there's anybody in the chat that has a burning question they'd love to ask us. By all means, throw it out there. I want to alternate. I want to mingle. We all want to chat. We all want to chill. Nordic's talking about having hairline fractures, which that sounds terrible.
I think Nordic got in a fight with their car and a fence and didn't win.
Nordic also said, I stumbled upon a Fey food place. I went through a Fey ring, and managed to wind up in Narnia. Nate said, Glenside Pub in Muskegon. Glenside Pub is fantastic. There are a ton of really good, pizza places around here. It's just that weird, alternate dimension pizza place that we found that night was exactly what it needed to be. Nate wants to go to Narnia. I'm pretty sure a lot of us do.
We had a pizza named after us at one time.
A Nick's News pizza?
No, my old D&D gaming group. There was a pizza place when I was in college. There was a pizza place down a couple of blocks away, and we had a very large D&D group. We had 12 players, plus the DM. And so we would order from them quite often because being a college town, they would have huge sized pizzas for really low price. So we would order their Monstrose pizza, and it was a huge square pizza that would cover my entire stovetop, the entire thing. And so we would get the pepperoni. Oh God, it was all hot stuff. Pepperoni, garlic, and something else, because we were stupid college kids. We didn't have ulcers yet. We all had cast iron stomachs, and we're trying to outdo each other for the hottest things we could eat. So they named this pizza the Geek House Dragonfire Pizza.
That sounds...
Or Dragon Breath Pizza.
That sounds so awesome.
It was pepperoni. It was a spicy sausage. I don't know how familiar you are with Hispanic foods, but they do
I've had a few in my time.
A pickled carrot that is extremely spicy. And that was on top, plus so much garlic. There's forget romance for 2 weeks if you've eating this pizza. And it was awesome. That was a fun memory from college.
Nice. Julie asked, do I know any good pizza places near them? Julie, you've got, it looks like PJ's Pizza and Slice, potentially the Village Inn Pizza Parlor, Florentine Sports Lounge. Those are all in your area, and I'd say try those. I don't think I've been to any of them. I've been to a Florentine's, actually. I've been to a Florentine's. It's pretty good. Crust 54. Oh, man. Nate busting out Crust 54 on us. Hey, Dirty Rogue. Garlic is measured with insanity. Nordic, I measure garlic with my soul.
Yep, garlic is measured with your heart, and you're absolutely right, Rogue. And yeah, you're right too, Wolf.
Yeah.
There's no way I could handle it now.
Right. Nordic asked, favorite clutch dice roll? Oh, man. Favorite clutch dice roll? I have been in a ton of games. Gosh, I might have to think about that one. If I have to say any one of them was my favorite clutch dice roll, I don't think I've had a lot of them actually in my time. I don't think it's the decisions have come down to my dice. I know way back I was in this game with a friend who made their own system, their own tabletop system, and it was fantastic. Made their own classes and everything. And I think I rolled like 8. It was a D6 system, and I think I rolled like 8 6s out of 9 die and saved another character's life with that roll. But that was about it. I'd have to really put some thought to which ones were like good clutch ones.
I made a fireball damage roll once with all but 1 max. So it was 1 short of max damage.
Nice. Dirty Rogue brought up one of the first games that Dirty Rogue ran. I did roll 3 nat 20s in a row, which was pretty solid. It might have come in clutch for a few things. That was a long while ago. Gosh. It's a good question, Nordic. Thank you very much for asking that question. Nordic says, so you incinerated the room. You didn't ask how big it was. You just incinerated the room.
Yep. Oh, I remember too. It was awesome because I was playing this little kobold. In fact, you know this kobold.
Oh, I do know this
This was the
kobold.
origin of bait.
Oh, gosh, it's bait.
This is the origin of bait. We'd walked in and we were going up against these pirates. And we walked in, we were sneaking, and a whole bunch of them were asleep in this cave. And the DM started measuring out the cave and telling us exactly how big it was. And I got all of them. Every single one. The fighter and the barbarian are up in the front going, yeah, okay, there's a lot of them, but we can do this. And the little tiny kobold walks up and goes, nah, I got this. Whoosh. Nothing but ash.
That's funny.
Sorry. I love
no,
that
that's
one.
fine. That's fine. That's really good. That is really good. That was a good answer.
Kobold.
Bait the kobold. Will says, my favorite is rolling a 100 and 100-sided die to take out a boss fight after a nat 20 on a crit chart. So, oh my gosh, that's right. So
I remember that night.
Some DMs like to roll or use critical hit and critical failure charts. In a game that I was in with Will and Donna, the DM loves running this crit chart. It's great when you succeed. It's terrible when they succeed. And Will, if you roll 100, it's one of the auto kill, or it's pretty much just like the most awesome effect
on the chart.
Oh, is it? Yeah. So Will, we're in a boss fight. Will just rolls up, rolls the nat 20, and then rolls the hundo and drops the boss like a bad habit.
That was awesome.
Nordic says, I remember reading this one on Tumblr about this pirate fight going bad on a ship, and the wizard got math nerdy with it. Well, if you're playing a wizard in D&D, you need to be an engineer or a math nerd, because that's how it works.
Yeah, especially when
That's a good question.
some of the fun spells go around corners and stuff.
Right. That was a good one. What's another question that we had sent in to us from folks that sometimes can't make the live streams? That was a good question, Mark.
What's the most bugs Nick has ever owned?
Oh, gosh. Are you kidding me? At one point, I probably had, like, at least for all of 48 hours, I had upwards of, like, 140 mantises.
Oh, yeah. Before they Highlandered you.
Yeah. So, so when I was keeping mantises, I had 2 females at one time, and both of them put down egg cases within like a day of one another, and I was like, that's not going to be good, because I had actually made sure that both of those females were mated. I had gone and found males and had mated them, and then had gotten the males out and let them go off to go find more women. So I was pretty sure that those egg cases were going to be what's the word I'm thinking of? Jeez. They were going to be viable. And so I came home one day, and I had the tanks side by side, and I could just see little things running around, and I'm like, 2 of the egg cases hatched almost simultaneously and were full. And so I had over 100 baby mantises at one time, and I'm like, well, that's a problem. So, yep, that's how many bugs I've owned. Who asked that question?
That was Luna.
That was Luna? Luna, thank you very much for asking me that question. Sending that one my way.
But Nathan wants to know, how did the bug deal even start?
I got that. Yeah, so I've owned bugs for so long, since when I lived in Texas. We had a family friend that would who was an exterminator and would show off like all sorts of bugs from around the world to me. And I would catch bugs and put them in big Tupperwares, or I'd build little homes for them. And I kept a collection of bugs, and I always did that as a kid. I've always been into them. I think they're fascinating. The modern day take on it was years and years ago, I found a very large female Chinese mantis who was freezing outside of my work. And I saw her for a few days up on the wall, just unable to move because she couldn't get warm enough to actually have any energy. And I could tell she was getting thinner. And I was like, man, if that thing is there tomorrow, I'm just going to take it home. Like a psychopath. I'm just going to take this bug home. And sure enough, I go and she's there. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be true to my word. So I put her in my lunchbox and kept her with me to warm her up. Went to Petco and bought everything I needed to build a tank for her. Yeah, and that was, I want to say that was Matilda. That would have been Matilda the Mantis. Many years ago at this point.
Matilda or Madeline?
Matilda was first, because Madeline Pryor was later. Madeline Pryor was the big green one that I found a few years later. Matilda was this gigantic brown color morph Chinese mantis. So I started taking care of her and kept her for several months. Got some brood out of her. I had continuous generations going for a while there. It all really came about because where I was at the time had a massive payment increase if I had a pet. So I didn't have a dog or a cat, and I wasn't home enough because I was working all the time. So I thought I'll keep a bug. It's something that doesn't need as much attention, but it's really cool to watch and observe. And that was about it. And I've had bugs ever since. And right now, even with my new job and having more time, I still don't feel like I have the time to devote to a cat or a dog. So I have more bug. I have 4 scorpions. I've got a small collection of roaches, and I've got all of the feeder bugs as well that I take care of. So when I get a house again, like I have a townhome right now. When I get a house again, I'm going to have a dog for sure. I'll have more time to devote to actually having a dog. So I'll look forward to that. But right now, it's bugs. Thank you for asking that question, Nate. Nordic says, I'm heavily allergic to mosquitoes. My gran has had severe reactions to hobo spiders and bees, and I just hope you stay in your corner and do your job and we cool. Bugs are not for everybody, but yeah. That was a good question.
Ripley's still my favorite.
Why? Because Ripley freaks me out at any chance they get?
Because Ripley is so H.R. Geiger that it's like
Oh yeah.
a physical representation of an artist's mind. You know, I don't like everything that Geiger's ever done. I'm not going to say I'm a diehard fan, but I
Sure.
really respect their work and especially their influence in, you know, Alien and all of that.
Yep.
But Geiger's got such a unique style, and then to see something like Ripley that is just so much part of that, it makes you wonder if creatures like Ripley were the inspiration, or if I'm just making a connection that hadn't been there originally. But Ripley is just too freaking awesome.
I would definitely bet arachnids in general influenced some of Geiger's work, especially regarding like the face huggers. Like that's why, for those who don't know, Ripley is my tailless whip scorpion. And if you want to know what that looks like, I'll let you look it up, or you can check out our Instagram or past posts
On
for
Tuesday.
photos of her. Yeah, on Tuesday there will be a picture of her. It's not the best, but there's other pictures I've posted of her.
I don't know. I think this picture you've got coming up on Tuesday really shows off how creepy she is. She's just, I love her to pieces, but she gives
I
you
don't because
shivers.
she was retreating when I took that picture, and I know I got a picture of her whole body. And you've got to see her whole body for the scale of the nightmare that is this thing. She's an amblypygid, so it's a tailless whip scorpion, and they are freaky. And I named her Ripley because she looks like a face hugger. It's really just creepy as hell.
Well, and also because I told you you're not allowed to name her anything else. It had to be Ripley.
This is also true. Producer Donna got like first dib picks on all these things while I was in the process of working out reasoning,
Well,
buying them. You know, I didn't
as
have
soon
anybody
as
to
I
stop
saw
me at the
her,
time.
well, we've had conversations where, okay, are you sure you want to do this right now? And
Yeah, and the answer was yes every time.
well, yeah, but we had serious conversations about it. This wasn't
That's
impulse.
true.
It's never you getting a new bug is never an impulse buy, and that's one of the reasons why I don't throw a fit or give you any shit about it when you get another one. It's because you have already done the research. You already know what you want, you know. And when you send me a message going, so excited, they have one in. I've been looking for this for years. Well, fuck yeah, I get it. You know, it's, do you have the money for it? Do you have the space for it? There you go. You know, that's all I need to know, because I know you are an excellent pet parent. You're a responsible adult. You're not blowing the rent money to get this bug, you know, and you've already done the research. You know what you're getting into. Yeah, I
Yep.
don't have a, but with Ripley, when you sent me that picture, she was just so much.
It's an alien. It's a little alien.
Yeah, she was just so much H.R. Geiger. I could not handle it. She was awesome.
Yep. Nate asks a really interesting personal question to me. Most impactful LARP character in your entire history at this point. For example, for the really old school Corbin, what is yours and why? So I do LARP. I go to a couple of different LARPs. Right now, the two major ones I'm doing are Waypoint and Haven. Nate was there for the first time I ever LARPed when I played a character named Danny. And we became partners in crime pretty fast. Gosh, most impactful, though, is probably actually the character that I just retired from Waypoint. Nico says, yay, Danimoth. But actually, I think the most impactful character I've ever had, almost 20 years I've been LARPing. And really the most impactful was a character that I just retired named Nero. Nero was a ton of fun for me to play, because when I make a character for LARP, I try to take an aspect of myself and I ramp it up to 1,000,000. And with Nero, it was really my charisma and my strength of personality. And what that ended up with was I was leading the town. I became the mayor of the town. And so I was leading the town on plots and into battle and coordinating information and was really helping to run things and try to make things better and bring everybody that we have. And Waypoint has a huge player base. It is wild how many players there are. And a big part of it was just bringing everyone together. And I found that I had a knack for it. But I also realized alongside my co-mayor, Cassidy, who's a Nick Snoozy, that kind of stuff, like sometimes you can become too controlling and too overbearing. So we both hung up our roles as mayor and vice mayor to let the town begin to flourish on its own without us and without this kind of firm hand that we had. And it was so rewarding and so impactful to get to play that character alongside so many amazing role players at Waypoint. So it definitely was Nero. And yes, that right there. Nate just said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It was getting to the point where with Nero, both in-game and out of game, I was able to, look at myself and be like, you are getting to that point. And I did not want that to be the legacy of Nero. I wanted it to be, I'm going to bow out when the time is right, and the time was right. So that character was a ton of fun to play, and also just had a great time with everybody. So I've had a lot of long-lived characters too. Like, I'm still playing Danny at Haven, which is scary. So, but I haven't had quite the same impact with Danny as I have with Nero. Nate said, that's tough to recognize and let go. It really was, because I loved playing Nero. I loved being just being expressive and being charismatic and being really myself, ramped up to 1,000. But it really was one of those moments where I took a look at it. It's like, I don't want to control the town. I want the town to go out and be the town. So thank you for that question, Nate. That was a really good question.
That kind of leads into another one we got from Will. What's your favorite character class in D&D and why?
Oh gosh. Rogue. Rogue for sure. I'll say this. Nico said Danny was a big impact on True, which was a character that Nico plays. Thank you very much, Nico. I do appreciate that. And Julie says I can relate. Nate, the moment I said Rogue, said knew it. So Rogue, I've played. Actually, Danny, my longest running LARP character, spawned from a tabletop game, from a D&D game that Dirty Rogue was running. I had an idea for Danny in a previous game, and I'd played him for maybe 2 sessions, but I really played the Danny that everybody ended up knowing in Dirty Rogue's game. And Rogue is without a doubt one of the most versatile classes I've ever played in D&D and in Pathfinder. With everything you can do, Rogue is insane. And from 3.0 to 3.5 to 5th edition and Pathfinder 1 and Pathfinder 2, Rogue to me is like the class, because I can be sneaky, or I can be flamboyant, or I can be an assassin, or I can be just a loot goblin. I can basically just be whatever I'm feeling like on a given day, and Rogue has been what lets me do that. How about you, Donna? What's your favorite?
I'm going to go same reasons, different class.
Oh.
For me, it's Druid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I really, really love the versatility of the Druid. I have not played the new, 5.5 is what they're calling it now.
Yeah,
I've not
2024.
played with those rules. I took a look at them when they were first released. I didn't like what they did to Druids, so I've been avoiding playing it. But I like being able to have the tank ability. You know, if you're playing Druid of the Moon, you've got that tanky ability. You've got healing. You've got wizard spells. You've got enough hit points to take a couple of hits. It's a very versatile class, and I like that because then I can go into any party and, okay, what do we need? And I'm already that. You know, I don't do as much damage, and I can't take as many hits as like a fighter or a barbarian or something like that. But, you know, the versatility is there that you can really fill in whatever's needed. And I really like that.
I like that. Who asked that question?
That was Will.
Oh, it was Will.
Nice
Will,
night.
that was a great question. Cheers. Nate concurs with you, jack of all trades. What was that?
Will, who's been playing with us for the last 8 years.
That's true. That's true. Nordic said something that really made me sad. Nordic said I was in a Vampire the Masquerade LARP and I was hiding from another vampire. I got a nat 20 roll success and he still murked my character. I stopped going after that. It just destroyed the fun. Nordic, I'm really sorry that you went through that. That's real trash. Nate said, shove a naive character into a dimension door to test for traps. That sounds familiar. Julie says, I have 2 favorite classes, depending on my mood. One, I bet you can guess, Nick. I'm betting it's pirate. Or fighter. Or rogue. I mean, you are a jack of all trades, Julie. Nordic's Soul D&D experience was similar toxicity, only my level 3 dwarf barbarian got tossed into a level 12 demon dungeon and then hit with a stealth check and murked in 1 turn. Man, Nordic, your luck is just not good on these games, it sounds like. Nate is definitely... I know Nate. Nate is a jack of all trades, indeed. Yeah, Julie says fighter. Yep. Julie is fighty. So, good question. Good questions. Julie likes the directness of playing a fighter. Nordic says, since I started playing Baldur's Gate 3, my favorite class has been Barbarian and Rogue, as well as Ranger, but Druid is fun too. Julie's other one is Ranger. That makes sense, Julie.
Fighter used to be my favorite until 5th edition came around, and it may have been before this because I skipped several of the editions.
Sure.
But when now they force you to choose a subclass, and I don't like that with fighter.
Oh, yeah, that's understandable.
I don't want to do any of this stuff. I just want to be a fighter, you know? and
Right.
and some of the things that were a base class feature are now you now have to take as a feat instead of um, the level advancements, the ability advancements. So it's fighter's hard for me now.
Mm.
But yeah, back in second edition when I was playing, fighter was one of my favorites.
Nice.
What class would you be if you had the chance in real life? Same. I would still be druid.
Mine differs.
I mean, I'm already halfway there.
If and we played this out in a game, several of us, Julie says I would so be a fighter rogue, aka pirate. So Nate says healer. That's really cool. I am an engineer. I went to school for engineering. I got my degree in engineering. I have my ring for engineering. I would be an artificer. I have so much crazy shit going on in my head for making things. And if I was granted access to magic to do so, I mean, the first thing you're going to see is me walking around in Mjolnir armor. Magical Halo Mjolnir armor. And then it's going to get crazy from there. So, definitely, if I was able to play a class in real life, it would be the Artificer. Specifically, Armor or Artificer. Julie was thinking Artificer for me. Yep. And it wouldn't be 2024 Artificer. It wouldn't be 5.5 Artificer. They neutered the hell out of it. And they didn't have to. I don't know why they decided to go with what they made. It's absolute trash. I would be going with just straight 5th edition Artificer because 5th edition Armorer Artificer was awesome. Adding on to Nordic's question. Oh, sorry. What was that, Donna?
I was just going to agree. That's why I didn't like what they did with druids either.
Right.
And for that same reason, there was no point, no reason for them to do it. Go ahead.
So Dirty Rogue asked, follow-up, species or ancestry? What would you be?
You have to ask.
You're a kobold.
Tabaxi.
A tabaxi? Cat person?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can see that. I would probably just be a basic human, to be honest.
You wouldn't go Thri-kreen?
No, I'm not going to be a
With the
Thri-kreen
extra arm?
artificer. No, I'm not going to be a bug. I could be a bug person.
Awesome.
I wouldn't be a bug person. I'd probably just be a human. I really would just be me, just with magic and making things, which would be terrifying. I think that's enough. I think that's more than enough.
I was in that game with you as yourself as an artificer, and that you don't really need much else. You were really really into that role, and it was very awesome to see what you did with it.
Yeah, it's because I got to make Halo armor.
And the sword.
Yeah, and a sword. I got to make an energy blade. Nate wants the extra years, so they would be an elf. No, that's really cool. Nordic would be an elf so they could see in the dark. Right now, it's turn the lights off. God blasts it. I need the clappy lights that turn on or off when you clap. That's funny, Nordic. That was a good follow-up, Dirty Rogue. Thank you very much for that follow-up. I think we got time for maybe one more question.
You want a hard one or an easy one?
Do a hard question. Let's end on a hard question.
Okay. Dave wants to know, how much do you spend doing Nick's News? I don't know if this is a follow-up to our $1 million grant question from last time, or because Some Budget Studios is paying now for this production. And if you do not want to answer this question, it's fine. We can move on to another one because financials are not necessarily something we want to discuss publicly, but
what was it again?
It's up to you.
How much time I put into this, or how much I pay into this?
No, how much money? How much do we spend?
How much money do we spend?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
I know what I spend or
Yeah, you know
spent
what
in
you spend.
2025.
Yeah, and I don't know what you spent in 2025. I know what I have budgeted for the different projects that we have, or what I will pay for projects that we have in the pipeline. But I don't know.
I
I don't know if we want to talk about the financials because it's not about like though I have in my head. It was so funny earlier when you were talking about bait and you were talking about going through the dungeon and stuff and doing the fireball. I had in my head seeing like if we were to put the VOD up of this, you could have the graphic artist, our graphic artist Grayson, make an animated scene of that and cut that in while we're talking about it. And like stuff like that, getting some budget studios up to that level and getting the production value of Nick's News up to something like that is definitely where I want to go. Um, but
yeah, for
yeah,
what to answer this one, I think right now we're just going to say not enough.
yeah, probably.
How much we spend is what we can spend currently,
Yeah,
but it's not what we wish we could spend on this.
yeah,
And mostly for graphics and cool, fun things. Um, Advertising, a lot of advertising.
yep.
Yeah. So it's not enough.
That's a good way to put it right now. Nordic says, spending, what's that? That's that mythical thing we can do when we have bills paid and leftover money. Lol. That's in the same
Yeah.
mythos as sleep. Is there another hardball question that isn't financial that we could
Let's
answer?
see. Well, we have another one from Luna who is fairly new to Nick's News.
Sure.
They want to know what started Nick's News.
Sure, that's always a fun one to revisit.
Mm-hmm.
Back in
And
20...
then she wants to know why we're both so amazing.
Oh, I don't have an answer for that for me. You're just naturally awesome. I don't find myself amazing, but I appreciate that. Nick's News, Luna, for when you get a chance to watch this, Nick's News started back in 2016 when I was going back to school for engineering. I had been out of college for like 9 years at that point and had decided to finally go back and get a degree and was going to go back for the thing that I got in everywhere for, but I hadn't actually pursued at that time, and that was engineering. And I knew going in I was going to be working full time to pay bills, and because I was on my own, I needed to pay bills, and I needed to get that degree. So I was going to be full time work, full time school, and I think my first semester I had like 16 credits. So I knew that my social life was going to die. And I am a very outgoing and very social person. I am an extrovert through and through. And losing that interaction is a killer for extroverts. And I wanted to thrive still, so I figured if I'm not going to be able to see my friends, I can hop on Facebook and I can live stream with my laptop's camera myself, and we can just chat and kind of have these group discussions. And so we started doing that. Did a couple of those, and it was fun. But then someone suggested talking about some good news going on, because I think there was a lot of bad news going on at the time. There's a lot of, downright terrible stuff. And so we started looking for...
2016 was the first Trump presidency, and there was a lot of changes going on.
Yeah, and a lot of rancor.
Yeah.
So slowly but surely over time, things got added to it, like the news brew, the shout outs, the news quote, and actually doing news, like good news. And at the time, I started pulling everything from goodnewsnetwork.org. Because it was like the most readily available good news site I could find. And we just started reading good news articles. And then the slogan, we're bring good news to counter all the bad news we're bombarded with on a daily basis. That came about, and so it has continued to grow, all from just the desire to connect with people. And I think that's, at the end of the day, what good news is all about, is we're just trying to connect with one another and spread good news. So here we are in 2026, still going and still growing, which is really cool.
Yeah, I didn't officially join the project until, 2024?
Mm-hmm.
When Grayson and I
Yep.
basically moved in and didn't give him much choice.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was fine with that. I mean, look at it. We've grown continuously since then. It's been amazing. It really has been. Nate says this came about because of beer.
You're probably not wrong, Nate.
That's true. That was a really good question, Luna. Thank you very much for asking about the origins of Nick's News.
All right, we're going to call this done for tonight?
Yeah, I think we need to. We have been going for quite a while, and I thank everybody for tuning in. This was a really nice chat and chill. I really love the chat and chills, because this is back to like what the original format was. And it is good to go back to this now and then. So like I said, 4 times a year we do this. Nate's got to drop off for the night. Have a great night. Thank you, Nate, very much for tuning in. Yeah, I think it's about time we can call it for this one. Any parting remarks, Donna?
Thanks, Nate. I hope you have a great night. No. I love seeing you guys. I love having this interaction with you guys. Not just with the chat and chills, but when you guys show up for our good news episodes, it's great having you guys with us.
Yep.
We can look at the numbers and we can see you guys tuning in later, the ones who can't make the live shows, and that's awesome too. We really appreciate it. If you guys want to give us reviews, you can either leave it on the Facebook page or send them to us directly. We like to know that we're actually doing what we're set out to do.
Yep.
And it's nice. It's really nice seeing that you guys are enjoying this, because it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yep.
Seeing you guys and hanging out with you and hearing that it helps. And that's why we do it.
Yep. Well put. Well, with that, thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. Again, we're live every Sunday, and our next episode will be back to good news on March 29th of 2026. We encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, by all means, you can post suggestions for news brews, shoutouts, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes of our show. If you send us a bunch of articles, try to spread them out across our 4 categories we usually have, which are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, some really good stuff that we like to end on. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description of the video. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment on all our content across all the platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, and we are on TikTok, where we present news nibbles. So it has been fantastic. We continue to see growth thanks to all of you. Again, no SEO improvement advertisements. We're not looking for SEO improvement. We're working well enough on that as we go.
And thanks, but we're not going to buy followers either.
That too. We're not going to buy followers. We have been continually growing, and that's how we're going to do it. So, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of us for that. So, as always, thank you again. I love you all. We love you all. Have a great night, and we will play you out.